The hidden price of looking rich while staying poor. Let me ask you something. If you saw two people, same age, same income, same city, and one drove a new BMW and the other drove a 5-year-old Honda, which one would you assume was doing better financially? Most people would say the BMW, but statistically, you'd almost certainly be wrong, because one of the most consistent findings in research on wealth is this: the people who look wealthy and the people who are wealthy are often not the same people. And today I want to talk about why, not just what it costs to perform wealth financially, but what it costs you in ways that are harder to see and harder to recover from. Let's start with something uncomfortable. We are all performing. Not in a dishonest way. It's human nature to manage how others perceive us. We always have. Status within a group has always mattered. For most of human history, higher status meant better access to food, protection, opportunity. The drive to be seen as successful is not shallow, it's biological. But in a consumer culture, this drive has been turned into a product because luxury brands, car manufacturers, fashion houses, they don't primarily design for the wealthy. They design for the people who want to appear wealthy. That is, by far, the bigger market, the entry-level luxury bag, the financed European car, the designer item that stretches the budget but delivers a feeling for about a week. These products are engineered for a specific psychological moment, the moment when status feels urgent, when looking successful feels more important than actually building toward it. And the system that sells these things is very, very good at catching you in that moment. Here's what makes this so hard to escape. It's not just advertising, it's your social world. Research has found that financial stress activates the same neural pathways as social rejection. On a neurological level, your brain processes being broke and being excluded in similar ways. Both register as a threat. So when your friends are going to a certain restaurant, booking a certain kind of holiday, wearing certain things, and you can't quite keep up without borrowing or stretching, the pressure you feel is not just vanity, it is your nervous system sending a genuine alarm. And most people respond to that alarm the only way the culture has taught them to. They spend, even when they can't, even when they know they shouldn't, even when they've done it before and regretted it. Because in that moment, the social threat feels more real than the financial consequence. And here's something worth naming: the people around you who seem to be keeping up effortlessly. Many of them aren't. They're doing the same thing you are. Everyone at the table is quietly stretching. Nobody wants to be the first to say so. This is how a whole social group can collectively overspend for years, each person assuming everyone else can actually afford it. The performance isn't just individual, it's contagious. Now let me make the financial cost concrete, because I think most people genuinely haven't calculated it. Take the car. The average new car loses roughly 20% of its value in the first year. By year 5, you've lost around 60%. A reliable, practical used car bought 2 or 3 years old can do everything the new car does at a fraction of the cost. The difference in that one decision made once every few years can represent $150,000 to $200,000 in lifetime wealth. Not just from the price difference, from what that difference would have grown into if it had been invested instead. One decision: add housing premium, add wardrobe inflation, add the holidays that were really for the photos, add the restaurants you couldn't really afford but didn't want to miss. Add it all up across 10 years. And for many people, the single biggest obstacle between them and financial freedom isn't their income, it's the performance. But here's what I really want you to sit with. The financial cost, as significant as it is not the most damaging part. The psychological cost is, when you're living a life calibrated to how it looks rather than how it feels, there's a particular kind of exhaustion that builds up. It's quiet, it's hard to name, but it's constant, because performing is work. Maintaining an image takes energy that never fully replenishes. And underneath it all, you know there's a gap between who you're presenting and where you actually stand. That gap creates anxiety, low grade but persistent. And the thing you were trying to feel through the purchase The security, the confidence, the sense of being enough never actually arrives because it was never in the object. There's something in psychology called the hedonic treadmill, the idea that we adapt to new circumstances very quickly. The new car stops feeling special within weeks, the new apartment stops feeling exciting, the new wardrobe becomes the baseline. So the spending continues, not because it's working, but because we keep hoping the next thing will finally be the one that delivers what all the others didn't. It won't, it never will. And yet the cycle is remarkably hard to break, not because people are foolish, but because the relief is real, even if it's temporary. The moment of purchase genuinely does feel good. The brain gets a reward, the anxiety quiets briefly, which is exactly why the behavior gets reinforced. It works just enough to keep you coming back, and never enough to actually set you free. The research on what actually creates lasting well-being is very consistent. It's not things, it's autonomy. The feeling that your time is yours, that your choices are real, that your life is moving in a direction you actually chose. And here's the irony that I think about often. Every dollar you spend performing wealth is a dollar that could have been buying you that autonomy. Every purchase made to feel successful is making it harder to actually become free. The very thing you're trying to feel through the performance is exactly what the performance is preventing you from having. So what do you do differently? Step 1. Get honest about the motivation. Before your next significant purchase, ask one question. Am I buying this because I want it, or because of how it will make me look? No judgment, just the truth, because knowing the real answer changes the decision. Step 2. Reframe what wealth actually looks like. The research on genuinely wealthy people is consistent. Most drive ordinary cars, most live in modest homes, most aren't trying to impress anyone. Not because they're cheap, because they're playing a different game, one where the score is financial freedom, not social approval. Step 3. Find your real reference group. If everyone around you is in the performance, the spending pressure will feel inescapable. But there are communities where financial health is the status signal, where paying off debt, building savings, reaching independence, these are the things people celebrate. Find those communities, your sense of normal will shift faster than you expect. Step 4. Ask what you're actually looking for. Underneath almost every status purchase is a question that hasn't been answered. Am I enough? Have I made it? Am I worthy? These are real questions, important ones. But a purchase has never answered them and never will. Facing the question directly, even slowly, is the only thing that does. Step 5. Start building the actual thing, because here's what nobody talks about. The moment you have real savings growing, the pull of the performance weakens. Because you have something that can't depreciate, can't go out of style, can't be repossessed, a number that belongs to you quietly compounding while you sleep. That feeling, the one you've been trying to buy, turns out it was never for sale. The people who figure this out early don't suddenly become boring or joyless. They don't stop enjoying nice things. What changes is the motivation. They stop spending to be seen and start spending to live. And that shift, quiet as it is, changes everything downstream. The decisions get clearer, the guilt disappears, the anxiety around money starts to lift. Not because the number in the account is dramatically different yet, but because the relationship with it is. If this changed something in how you see the money you spend, subscribe. Because every video on this channel is built around the same idea. Remove one more layer of mystery. Get one step closer to a financial life that's genuinely yours. Subtract confusion, add confidence. I'll see you in the next one.